are taking on the Mahagathbandhan under Tejashwi Yadav. But there is also an X factor in the form of a new entrant, the Jan Suraj of election strategist turned politician Prashant Kishore. Which way will the Bihar cookie crumble? Who will be the new Jan Nayak of Bihar? Will it be the old war horse Nitish Kumar, or will it be the dawn of a new beginning, the rise of a new sun in Bihar? We will try and find out all of that through the course of the next 15 minutes. But I want to first play out the reactions that have come in. First, of course, the Chief Election Commissioner Ganesh Kumar announcing the dates, and then the political parties, various political parties responding to the dates announcement.
बिहार के चुनाव दो फेजेस में होंगे. डेट ऑफ पोल 6 नवंबर थर्सडे और दूसरा 11 नवंबर ट्यूसडे. काउंटिंग 14 नवंबर को होगी. बिहार के मतदाताओं की संख्या आपको जान करके अचरज होगा कि उससे बड़े मतदाताओं की संख्या दुनिया के सिर्फ 10 या 11 देशों में ही है. बिहार के चुनाव आयोग मानता है कि मदर ऑफ ऑल इलेक्शंस है, और इसीलिए हर लेवल पर, हर स्तर पर चुनावी कर्मियों की तैनाती है. कुल मिलाकर 8.5 लाख चुनावी कर्मी बिहार विधानसभा के आम चुनाव 2025 में रहेंगे. 8,000 माइक्रो ऑब्जर्वर्स फॉर काउंटिंग 4,800, काउंटिंग ऑफिशियल लगभग 28,000, पुलिस ऑफिशियल 2.5 लाख. बिहार के दौरे पर चुनाव आयोग ने जिला मजिस्ट्रेट्स को, सुपरिंटेंडेंट्स ऑफ पुलिस को और सभी एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसीज को सख्त निर्देश दिए हैं. Zero tolerance to any violence.
So what are going to be the key X factors as far as the Bihar election 2025 is concerned? A key determining factor for the election this time around has been the Special Intensive Revision Exercise, or the SIR exercise, which the Election Commission undertook. So before this exercise happened, the initial draft of electors, there were 7.89, almost 7.9 crore voters in the state of Bihar. This was the list that was published back in June. After the SIR exercise happened, 65 lakh names were either absent, they had passed away or were not present at the given address, or they had shifted, or like I said, had been deceased. So 65 lakh voters' names had been deleted or had been removed from the overall list of 7.89 crores. That led to the first draft list, which was 7.24 crore voters, to which another 21 lakh got added because there were new voters. The first-time voters, which are about 14 lakh, is what the Chief Election Commissioner today said. In addition to the new voters, there are also those voters who challenged their deletion of their names and their family members' names from the initial draft rolls, and then subsequently those names got added as well. So another 21 lakh names got added, as a result of which today the total elector count, the total voter count in Bihar is 7.42. So that is the number of people who will be taking part in the exercise. So you have 21.53 lakh voters who are eligible, who have been added. Out of that 21, 14 lakh are first-time voters. Another 7 lakh plus are those voters whose names were struck off, and they are now being brought back after they successfully challenged it before the Election Commission. There are another 3.66 lakh, in addition to the 65 lakh who were initially removed, another 3.66 lakh who were also found to be ineligible. Those voters' names have been removed. So in all, about 69, almost 69 lakh voters' names were removed, either because they had passed away, or their addresses had changed, or they had double voter ID cards. So 69, but with the addition of 21.53, the overall net reduction has been to the tune of about 48 lakh voters or so. This is one X factor, the SIR. I will explain on the magic wall as well on which are the constituencies which are likely to get affected because of the SIR exercise. But there is also another X factor, which is something that we cannot plot based on previous data, based on historic election data in Bihar, because we don't have any reference to this new political party. A new political party is in the fray now, that of Prashant Kishore. His party is called the Jan Suraj. They seem to be making the headlines. He's been on a Bihar Yatra for a number of months now. Will he be an X factor or will he be a damp squib? Now, remember, he has proven himself as a grassroots election organizer, election strategist. That is something that he has going for him. But he has never been a full-fledged politician. He's always been a backroom boy, a strategist behind the scenes. He's never actually put himself out there, put himself on a ticket and got other people to fight on his political party's ticket. So that's a completely new experience for him. Number two, he's articulate, he speaks very well, he has a clean, non-corrupt image about him, and he's a non-dynast. He doesn't have a famous surname, he's a complete outsider. He's come from the outside to what he says to clean up Bihar's politics. What does not work for him is no one quite knows what his ideology is. He says he's opposed to both NDA and the Mahagathbandhan, but then if push comes to shove, who will he align with? There's also political opportunism, because at the end of the day, even if he were not to win any seats, if he were to make some dent in terms of vote share, who will that benefit? That again is a critical question. He's also a symbol of merit-based politics in a state which is clearly, I mean, reservation is such a hot-button issue as far as Bihar is concerned. He, of course, stands in a stark contrast, underlining merit-based politics. Also, what doesn't work, he's got a new party, he doesn't have any organizational strength, and of course, the depth of him being able to get a ground game going, we don't know that. We don't know how much he'll be able to get the voters out. There's also, he could harness some anger, particularly among young men, about the joblessness situation. That is a critical concern. Bihar has one of the largest populations of migrant labor who go out of the state in search of work. That is something that he has been talking about. He's also been talking about corruption, allegedly by senior leaders in the incumbent government. Again, what kind of resonance that has with the people, we'll have to wait and see. And of course, because him being a new party, there are resource constraints. He's not established. Of course, his rivals are much more formidably established than he is. And of course, he offers an alternative, a third pole, if you will, to this oscillating sort of BJP versus RJD battles has been going on for the better part of the last 10 plus years in Bihar. There are some voters who are skeptical about this parachuting of leaders. Remember, he does not have a background of doing active politics in Bihar. There's also this feeling that he's been parachuted from Delhi to benefit who, we don't know, but this is again a feeling that there exists. But I want to play out some more reactions of political players in Bihar reacting to the dates announcement, and then we'll also go across to the magic wall, and we have some special guests joining us as well.
जो तारीख जो 14 नवंबर का जो तारीख होगा, यानी बिहार के लोग बदलाव चाहते हैं। बिहार के लोग जो हैं इस बार महागठबंधन की सरकार चाहते हैं। जो 20 साल से इन लोगों ने अपराध, भ्रष्टाचार, अफसरशाही, तानाशाही, घोटालेबाजी, जिस हिसाब से इन लोगों ने बिहार की सरकार ने जो दिया है, बिहार के लोग जो है त्रस्त हो चुके हैं, परेशान हो चुके हैं, और मुख्यमंत्री अचेत अवस्था में।
राहुल गांधी और लालू यादव के युवराज, इन दोनों को समझ में नहीं आया। चौबे गए, छब्बे बनने, दुब्बे बन के लौट आए। ये बांग्लादेशी और रोहिंग्या को बचाने के लिए राज्य भर और देश भर में भ्रम फैलाया। 89 लाख मतदाता काटने का इन्होंने भेज दिया और एक भी ऑथेंटिक सुझाव नहीं दिया। ये हीट एंड रन और फिर माफी मांगो, यही है।
So I want to bring you up to speed with two critical factors. One, the various phases. There are two phases now that have been decided by the Election Commission on the 6th and in the 11th. And they've divided it roughly equal. 121 seats in the first phase, 122 seats in the second phase. But which are the regions that are going to polls? This is very different from 2020 when there were three phases. Those three phases were geographically designed at that time. It was the southern part that went first, then the western part, and then finally the Seemanchal or the eastern part. This time around, what the Election Commission has done is they've done it slightly differently. Phase 1, which goes on the 6th, this is the central part of Bihar. This is Patna included, which of course is the capital, the Magad region, parts of the Bhojpur region, some parts of southern Mithilanchal have been added as well, and of course a large part of the central part of Bihar. Now this, in 2020, it was evenly split between the Mahagathbandhan and the NDA, largely because the Mahagathbandhan got a bunch of seats in what used to be the erstwhile Naxal belt, as it were, in places like Buxar, Jahanabad, Aurangabad, etc. Also, these are parts that sort of border Jharkhand. So it was 61 to the Gathbandhan and 59 to the NDA. There was a roughly 1.5% or so, a little over 1.5% vote share difference between the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan. So this was a phase which the Mahagathbandhan had won. Remember, it was a three-phase election in 2020. The election turned at the end of phase 1, starting of phase 2 and phase 3. That's where the election turned. And then you have phase 2, which again, this time around, again is interesting because it's got a whole bunch of these border seats. So Mithilanchal, the Champaran seats, and then the Mithilanchal seats. All of this is the border with Nepal, so it's a porous border. It could have an impact on these border seats. And then you have the border seats on the eastern side in the Simanchal region. This is Araria, Purnia, Katihar. These are seats, of course, which have a high minority population. These are also seats which have seen an impact of the SIR exercise as well. And then, of course, you have the entire southern Bihar belt as well. So it's almost like a horseshoe shaped, the second set, which is 122 seats. This is the phase where the NDA did exceptionally well last time around. It was a close election, but the NDA got 66 out of 122 last time around. The Gathbandhan got just 49, and the vote share also has completely flipped. It's the NDA with 38% vote share and the Mahagathbandhan with just 36. So it was a 2% vote share difference between the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan. And this was the phase that sort of really did it for the BJP and for the NDA. The seats up in the north of the Ganga, the Mithilanchal belt, some parts of the Simanchal belt, and of course in the south, where the Mahagathbandhan seems to have done better in Bihar. So this is how it will play out in terms of phases this time around, both in the north and in the south. How may that impact the entire election exercise itself, and how may that impact eventually the result of the election? I want to go across to a quick face-off. Mr. R.P. Singh is national spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. Mahima Singh is spokesperson of the Congress. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. R.P. Singh, I just laid that out for our viewers. The opposition is saying SIR is the biggest issue. They are saying that people have been, their names have been deleted. A large number of women, particularly minorities, their names have been deleted. And they are saying that they are making this vote chori as the number one issue in the election. Your response?
Well, Zaka, if that was the issue, the vote chori was the issue, then why did Mr. Tejasvi Yadav started his second yatra? Because he knew that vote chori is not sticking on. I mean, they have tried their best. Both brothers have tried their best, but it failed. They miserably failed to stick this on election commission, or for that regard the ruling party. That's why he is on with the second yatra now without Rahul Gandhi. So that's the fabricated agenda of Rahul Gandhi. He's tried his best, but let's understand. 68 lakhs voters have been deleted. No one has raised a question. I mean, they could have gone to the court. They tried their best in the court. The court gives them right appropriate answer. Now 21 lakh vote has been added, put together some 47 lakh vote have been deleted, put all together.
Yeah.
So this is the process. And if anyone has to challenge, there was a time which was given to everyone to challenge that, but no one challenged that. And they wanted people who were dead, people who are not resident of Bihar, or people who are shifted from Bihar. They want to do a fake vote on their behalf. I mean, that's how long back.
No, but yesterday the Chief Election Commissioner was in Patna and he was asked this question: how many illegal immigrants did you remove? And he refused to give a number, but he said the electoral rolls have now become pure. Those are the words that he used.
Well, given to me, I'm not above election commission. I won't have the number. But fact is, there are people who are the illegal immigrants who have been removed in the process. But fact is, people who have been removed, no one has challenged that. Or people have not come. I mean, as earlier, they have tried to put up a theatric that there are people who are dead and their vote has been deleted.
Okay.
People who are alive, their vote has been deleted. But fact is that there is no hue and cry in Bihar today. Bihar
so let me ask
give me a second. Give me another 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Bihar is looking forward for that 10,000 rupees which they have got. A woman, 10,000 rupees, women have got more than 1 crore women going to get 10,000 rupees, and probably they would have got in their accounts. And now, how do they ensure that they use this money for development of Bihar and their personal development, and also
Okay.
that after they've done the job, they'll get another 2 lakh rupees.
Let me bring in Mahima Singh. You're making much of an issue of SIR. Maybe you think that there is electoral resonance for it, but look at the cold numbers, Mahima Singh. The numbers that were released by the Election Commission in the first draft rolls were about 7.89 crores. After which, in the first set of SIR, the deletions that happened was 65 lakh. In the revised one, another 3 lakh odd were also deleted. So that takes it up to about 68 lakhs and a half. But there were 21 lakh that were added as well, of which 14 lakh are new voters and about 7 lakh who contested and got their names back in the final rolls. So net, only about 48 lakh names have been deleted, either because those people have passed on, or they have moved out of Bihar, or they have duplicate sort of 2 voter ID cards or 2 Aadhaar cards. Now, the point is that 48 lakh is just barely 5 or 6% of the electorate. Have you, wrongfully taken an issue which doesn't have widespread resonance across the length and breadth of Bihar, or at least to a large majority of the electorate?
Jai Hind. Zaka, first of all, before coming to your question, I would like to remind the BJP spokesperson that we are the Mahagathbandhan, not the NDA, where the region doesn't matter, where the federalism doesn't matter. He has a great issue with Tejasvi Yadav going out and carrying out his yatra. Unlike Mr. Modi not allowing Mr. Nitish Kumar to have an independent campaign.
Tejasvi Yadav, your next CM candidate.
And please observe some discipline. Please observe. You're so senior. Why don't you observe some discipline? Now, we are the Mahagathbandhan, and in the Mahagathbandhan,
is Tejasvi Yadav your CM candidate or not?
I'll ask her that, but I'll ask her that, sir. Let her respond. No, but answer my question, ma'am. Answer my question about SIR, please. Please.
We know how rattled the BJP, and I'm thankful to the BJP spokesperson for giving us a live demo of that right now. Now, let me just say, Zaka, you are saying 48 lakhs only. I must tell you, please go and have a dialogue with the experts, and you will find out that this 6% shrinkage of voter lists in Bihar is unprecedented, is historical in an unceremonious way. It is unprecedented that voter lists in Bihar ever shrank by 6%. Now, this press conference, Zaka, the sham of a press conference that happened today and also yesterday, you have already mentioned about that question. The very timing of this press conference is questionable after bribing 75 lakh plus 21 lakh women of Bihar, after direct transfers of 10,000 minutes before this press conference today, after making announcements for the youth of 1,000 rupees, for all graduates per month. The election commissioner, chief election commissioner, comes out and holds a press conference. And where in this press conference, the chief election commissioner, Mr. Ganesh Gupta, cut out a very sorry figure, Zaka, I must say, when he made his, a failed attempt, a very frivolous attempt at a vernacular appeal to Biharis, when the Biharis know very well the Supreme Court had to come to their rescue, when their very right to vote had been put under threat by the very authority.
So, ma'am, as far as the giving doles or cash sops to women, I mean, your government in Karnataka has done that. Your government in Telangana has done that as well. I'm sure we'll have enough opportunities to talk about that in the run-up to the elections. No. One second. I do want to ask you, ma'am. I do want to ask you a specific question. Because today, right after the dates were announced, ma'am, one second. Hear my question, please. Hear my question.
You have drawn a parallel. Please allow me a few seconds.
Hear my question, please. My question is not on that. My question is, right after the dates were announced today, Mr. Tejasvi Yadav gave a bite to ANI. I hope we can play that. I don't know if we have that. If we have that, we should play that. Where basically he said, "Chunav mere aur Nitish Kumar ke khilaf hai." As in, like, it's the fight is between me and Nitish Kumar. He's basically saying he's the chief minister in waiting as far as the Gathbandhan is concerned. Is he? If he is, then please say so. If he's not, then please say so. I think the people of Bihar deserve to know.
I think your debate today, Zaka, is focused on this press conference, on the SIR issue, on the announcement of the dates. We will come to the chief ministerial announcements also. But since you drew a parallel between Congress ruled states and Bihar, let me ask you a question, Zaka, as a very senior veteran journalist. I want to ask you, when in the history do you remember that direct cash transfers were done to women or stakeholders by a Congress-led government or a UPA government minutes before the announcement of an election was done by the Chief Election Commissioner? When did you see an Election Commission of India and a government so much hand in glove that nothing was left for imagination, really?
Okay. Well,
I
Congress
mean,
has usually promised it, and then after the election, whether they've been able to
so
keep or not
direct
keep.
transfers,
Anyway,
direct.
no, the
Don't
Griha
would you
Lakshmi
deny
scheme
direct
that you
transfers
announced in
worth
Karnataka
10,000?
was the apparently the game changer, right? The giving 2,500 to women. Anyway, I want to play out
In
that bite.
Delhi, they're not still giving it.
I
It was
believe that
6 months
soundbite
in
is
Delhi. The
ready,
women are still
so
waiting in vain.
we can play that soundbite out. This is Tejasvi Yadav. Let's play that out.
जो तारीख जो 14 नवंबर का जो तारीख होगा, यानी बिहार के लोग बदलाव चाहते हैं। बिहार के लोग जो हैं इस बार महागठबंधन की सरकार चाहते हैं। जो 20 साल से इन लोगों ने अपराध, भ्रष्टाचार, अफसरशाही, तानाशाही, घोटालेबाजी, जिस हिसाब से इन लोगों ने बिहार की सरकार ने जो दिया है, बिहार के लोग जो है त्रस्त हो चुके हैं, परेशान हो चुके हैं और मुख्यमंत्री अचेत अवस्था में। और इस बार सब लोग चाह रहे हैं कि महागठबंधन की सरकार बने।
Right, and the latter part of it, which we couldn't play out, is that Tejasvi Yadav Mukhyamantri bane. So again, I come down to that. I mean, the people of Bihar deserve to know, right? RP Singh. I mean, your candidate is Mr. Nitish Kumar. Last election, you did not declare that, even though he was the sitting chief minister. But this election, I think it's fairly clear that it is Mr. Nitish Kumar who is the chief minister. Whereas the Congress, I'm not sure why, but I don't see any other leader tall enough other than Tejasvi Yadav in the Mahagathbandhan who can be declared as the opposition face.
Well, Zaka is very clear. There is a tug of war between the seat to be allotted to Congress or seat Congress will be contesting. Last time they probably have been told contested 70 seats and won only 19. So their stacking rate was very bad. And then RJD probably don't want to repeat that because RJD thinks that giving more seats to Congress or giving them a seat which they are not will win. I mean, there's a tug of war going on. So let's understand, this will continue because there's no clarity of leadership also between the RJD and the Congress. But fact is, let's see how Bihar has changed. It's not only that 10,000 rupees, it is not a bribery or some dole. It's basically bringing entrepreneurship to women folk in Bihar. And it's not the first time Mr. Nitish Kumar has done so.
But RP Singh Saab, surely you had 5 years to introduce it. Why introduce it on the eve of elections?
Allow me to complete. Let me give you a track record for Nitish Kumar. He gave bicycles long back. And because of that, students who studied at mothers now, they are going to vote for Nitish Kumar. Or he gave 50% reservation in Panchayat. First one to do in the country. 30% reservation in the police jobs. So he has been ongoing and even in the higher education. I mean, he has been ongoingly catering to the women folk in Bihar. He knows that enabling women will enable Bihar and economically also enabling women will enable Bihar. But that's not the all. I mean, more than 87 farmers are getting the yearly Kisan Samman Nidhi. More than 1.6 crore houses have got the tap water at their doorstep. More than 3 crore 52 lakh people have got Ayushman Bharat. There is lot which has been done. I have a complete list of some 100 things which have been done.
So I get that. So Mahima Singh, RP Singh making the case that look, you can't look at this announcement of this cash swap or financial help to women as something in isolation. Nitish Kumar has been cultivating the women vote bank, and the women vote bank has been a solidly loyal vote bank to him over the last 20 years that he's been chief minister in Bihar. So he says you can't just look at it as something that's been done on the eve of elections because this is something that he has cultivated over a period of time.
Zaka, certainly first horse trading, then vote chori, then vote bribery, now charity for the youth because they've failed to create enough employment. Why enough? employment at all is, of course, straight out of the BJP's playbook, which has been adopted by the entire NDA camp also. But
Okay.
I must, he was talking about the track record of the Nitish Kumar-led NDA government in Bihar. We must surely, to start with, ask about the CAG scam. 70,000 crores embezzled over the last 10 years. The CAG report talks about no records of those 70,000 crores, which is the taxpayers' money,
Okay.
which the Bihar women and women, youth, elderly, all the voters of Bihar need to know where has this 70,000 crores gone. And this is just to start with. Your show is limited today, and we can have a detailed discussion
Okay.
about the rest of the track record on
We'll
another
have
better
that
opportunity.
in the course of the next month as we count down to the elections. For the moment, thank you very much, RP Singh and Mama Singh, for joining us. Let's see how this plays out in the heartland of Bihar and whether or not the voters repose their faith in Nitish Kumar and this continuing NDA arrangement, or do they opt for a change? Will the 2025 election be an election of change? Now, 18 children have died across Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh because of contaminated cough syrup. Coldriff, which is a cough syrup which is manufactured by the Tamil Nadu-based Srisun Pharmaceuticals, turned toxic. Now, those doubts were confirmed when Tamil Nadu government found the control batch of Coldriff cough syrup was adulterated with 48.6% of diethylene glycol. Now, diethylene glycol is a highly toxic chemical. It's sort of a substitute for glycerin, if you will, but a much cheaper substitute and a highly toxic substitute. This is not the first time, though, that cough syrups that are made in India and contaminated by this DEG, this particular compound, they have led to deaths of children. Unfortunately, history has repeated itself both in Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan. Today, the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Mohan Yadav visited the families of the victims in Chhindwara, which is in southern Madhya Pradesh. But for the families of the children, this compensation means very little. What is 4 lakh rupees when your child is gone?
ड्रग कंट्रोलर को हटाया, डिप्टी ड्रग कंट्रोलर को भी सस्पेंड के लिए बताया है, कोई इंस्पेक्टर ऑफिस लगाकर कई लोगों पे कार्रवाई की है। जिन डॉक्टर ने इलाज किया उन पे भी केस बनाया, जिनके दुकान से या बाकी चीज़ों को बिक्री हुई है उस सब पे भी हमने कार्रवाई की है। अर्थात कार्रवाई के पक्ष में तेरा मेरा न देखते हुए जो जहाँ जिस प्रकार से लापरवाही बरती गई वहाँ कार्रवाई भी कर रहे हैं, जहाँ समझाइश देना वहाँ समझाइश भी दे रहे हैं, और जिन फैक्ट्रियों ने लापरवाही की उनको सीज भी कर रहे हैं।
Now, Madhya Pradesh's senior pediatrician, Dr. Praveen Soni, was arrested in connection with these deaths. He prescribed Coldriff to a bunch of kids, and some of them went on to die. The police have lodged an FIR against Dr. Soni and the operators of Srisun Pharmaceuticals, the manufacturers of Coldriff cough syrup, under several sections of the BNS and the Drugs and Cosmetics Act. The Indian Medical Association has now come out in defense of Dr. Soni. They claim that he's being unfairly targeted and that he should not be solely held responsible for these deaths. While questioning the clean chit that was awarded to the pharma company, the Indian Medical Association has also said that it would continue to push for Dr. Soni's release. The statement said that doctors across the country are apprehensive after indiscriminate action against a bona fide doctor. It also read that once the drug has been approved and made available in the market, registered medical practitioners, it's their legitimate authority in prescribing any drug as long as that drug is legally available in the market and has not been regulated or controlled by the Drugs Controller General of India. So if the drug is available, you can't hold the doctors responsible for it. Let's listen into some more reactions from doctors and how the doctor community feels that they are being singled out and there's no action on the state government, the Central Health Ministry, or even the regulators for that matter.
Homicide. So tomorrow I prescribe a medicine, say paracetamol or anything, in all good faith, and you go and buy that medicine. It's a sealed bottle, approved by CDSCO. How am I supposed to know that there is a contaminant in that bottle? Obviously, I cannot open the bottle, drink, check, or send it to the lab for testing every bottle, and then tell the patient, okay, this bottle is safe for consumption. That is not our job as doctors. Our job is to prescribe the right medication. When you have a regulatory body which has approved this combination, then I will have to accept that it is safe for the child. He was made a scapegoat, definitely. He may be working privately, though being a government servant. That is a totally different thing. You take action against him for that. But here, culpable homicide definitely is being made the scapegoat. Doctors' fraternities always made the scapegoat.
So the doctors are getting made into scapegoats, and no action on the regulator, no action on the other state and central authorities. But now states are beginning to crack the whip. Cold reef is now banned in Madhya Pradesh. It's banned in Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. All of this, of course, in hindsight, because after the deaths have been alerted. The DEG, which is that chemical compound I was talking about, which is a substitute for glycerin, a cheaper substitute, DEG causes kidney failure and severe harm in children. In fact, a couple of these children, the cause that's led to their death was kidney failure. The sample batches were declared as adulterated by the drug authorities. Multiple firms are involved, and raw material sourcing is suspected to be the source of the contamination. States have now banned the sale and production of cold reef to protect minors from taking it. So across the board, across batches, across the board, there's now a statewide ban on this cough syrup cold reef.
The Health Ministry has stepped in with strict action against the manufacturers of cough syrups after what we have seen in Madhya Pradesh's Chhindwara that has caused deaths of about 18 children. Now, after this entire incident, the Health Ministry has in fact asked all the manufacturers to follow the Special M, which is in fact a good manufacturing practice that needs to be followed by all the manufacturing units. If that is not done, if there is non-compliance, then the license of that manufacturing unit or of that pharma company is going to be cancelled. And in this case, we have seen how the Health Ministry has in fact cancelled the drug controller, in fact, has cancelled the license of cold reef manufacturers, which is in fact a company based in Kanjipuram in Tamil Nadu, because their samples have in fact found to have DEG, which is an industrial solvent, beyond the permissible limit, which the Health Ministry believes have caused the death of these 18 children. Now, apart from these actions that has been taken by the Health Ministry, the MP government in Chhindwara has also initiated action against the said doctor who has prescribed this cough syrup to a number of children in Madhya Pradesh. Dr. Praveen Soni has in fact been arrested by the Madhya Pradesh police, but this has set a debate in the medical industry. The Doctors Association, a number of doctors, even the IMA Chhindwara has come in support of Dr. Praveen Soni, saying that a doctor cannot be liable if a medicine has, or a batch of certain cough syrup or medicine are spurious in nature or has toxic element. The responsibility of the doctor is to prescribe medicine according to the appropriate age, and that is exactly what Dr. Praveen Soni has done, is what the doctors have been saying.
Meanwhile, India's Operation Sindoor severely crippled multiple Pakistani Air Force bases back in May of this year. It left that country scrambling for urgent repairs. The biggest revelation when it comes to Operation Sindoor was made by the Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal Amarpreet Singh, last week. He was addressing reporters ahead of the Air Force Day. The chief said that India downed at least 4 to 5 F-16s of the Pakistan Air Force during Operation Sindoor. In total, he said that India had downed about a dozen Pakistani aircraft, including an AWACS, a Swedish aircraft, a transport aircraft, and of course these 4 or 5 fighter jets, the F-16s, in addition to the JF-17s, which are also Chinese-made fighter jets used by the Pakistan Air Force. This probably explains why Donald Trump is so upset with India. The fact that 4 or 5 F-16s, whether they were in the hangars or whether they were up in the air, most of them in the hangars, were destroyed by India during those crucial 80-odd hours. But first, let's listen into what the Air Chief said and what this means, because now our investigations editor Manoj Gupta has got corroborative evidence that India did hit deep, did hit hard at multiple airfields and airstrips across the length and breadth of Pakistan. He now has follow-up action secretly taken by the Pakistani authorities, which corroborate how many of their airstrips were hit. But first, let's listen in to what the chief said.
Then 3 of their hangars in 3 different stations have been damaged, and in that hangar as well as on tarmac, we have signs of one C-130 class of aircraft, one AEW&C class of aircraft, and at least 4 to 5 fighter aircraft, most likely F-16, because that base happened to be F-16, which would have been under maintenance that time. आपने कोई एक ऐसी पिक्चर देखी है जहाँ पे हमारे किसी एयर बेस में कुछ गिरा हो, कुछ लगा हो, कोई हैंगर डिस्ट्रॉयड हो, कुछ हो? जो इतनी सारी पिक्चर्स हमने उधर की दिखा दी, वैसे एक भी पिक्चर वो नहीं दिखा पाए हमें।
इस बार भारत देश पूरी तैयारी के साथ है और इस बार वो संयम नहीं रखेगा जो सिंदूर 1.0 में हमने संयम रखा। इस बार हम आगे की कार्रवाई करेंगे और कुछ ऐसी कार्रवाई करेंगे कि हो सकता है पाकिस्तान को सोचना पड़े कि उसे इतिहास में भूगोल में रहना है कि नहीं रहना है। अगर उसे भूगोल में अपनी जगह बनानी है तो उसके लिए उसे जो स्टेट स्पॉन्सर टेररिज्म जिसको हम बोलते हैं, यानी कि उसका देश जो टेररिज्म को स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है उसे रोकना पड़ेगा। तो आप अपनी पूरी तैयारी करके रखिए।
The revelations of the damage caused by the airstrikes, which flattened not just the terrorist havens, that was on the 1st, on the 7th of May, and then subsequently on the intervening night of the 9th and 10th of May, destroying multiple Pakistani air bases and airfields. All of that flies in the face of Pakistan's assertion that none of their aircraft were hit or destroyed. CNN News 18 now has learned that the Indian strike damaged critical Pakistani military infrastructure, including a Swedish-made Saab 2000 Ariai AWACS, which is an early warning aircraft, a Lockheed C-130, which is a transport aircraft, one of the biggest in the world, again manufactured by Lockheed Martin, an American defense manufacturing giant, and at least 4 F-16 jets, a bulk of which were parked in the hangar in Bhulari as well as in Jacobabad. Several radar systems, command and control units, air defense installations were also targeted in the missile strikes across multiple air bases. At least 11 of them were taken out by the Indian Air Force. One of the most significant hits occurred at the Bhulari Air Base, where an F-16 jet that was parked in the hangar there was destroyed. Pakistan has also racked up a hefty bill to repair the damage caused to its various air bases during Operation Sindoor. Exclusive documents and high-level confirmations accessed by CNN News 18's investigations editor Manoj Kumar Gupta have revealed that the price tag of anywhere between $400 million to $470 million. These are the secret funds that have been allocated for repair and equipment. The Bhulari Air Base, one F-16 was damaged there and one Saab radar system repaired by the US Air Force back in June. In Jacobabad, which is again a southern air base in Pakistan, 2 parked F-16 jets were damaged after a BrahMos missile hit that Jacobabad hangar. The Noor Khan Air Base, one of the oldest in Pakistan, 1 F-16 jet and 1 C-130 military transport aircraft, a carrier, they were both damaged after a BrahMos strike there. American engineers who were dispatched from Doha, Abu Dhabi and from Maryland went there for repairs. American teams have also been arriving between June and September to conduct repairs both on the ground as well as, of course, the repairs that the aircraft have sustained. There was also a US-China conundrum. China was ready to conduct these repairs, but the United States feared that there will be theft of technology, particularly high-end technology of what's used in their fighter jets, their 4th and 5th generation fighter jets. The US feared that China could compromise the F-16 as well as the C-130's technology. Pakistan is also using these funds to upgrade these air bases. The PAF is installing latest communication radars and integrating them with satellites with a combination of American and Chinese technology to deter future strikes.
CNN News 18's investigation editor Manoj Gupta has reported that how Pakistani Defense Ministry has approved additional secret funds to repair the air bases and also to buy new equipment after the sort of damage and destruction by the airstrikes conducted by Indian Armed Forces during Operation Sindoor. Right now, we know the kind of progress that has been made in all these projects, and we have been given to understand that this secret fund is being utilized to the sort of repair that is currently happening at a number of places. Indian Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh recently revealed that how on ground several sort of command posts, radar stations, control centers along with at least 4 to 5 F-16 jets were destroyed by Indian Armed Forces. Along with it, one C-130 class transport aircraft was also damaged. Other than this, we know that how S-400 was utilized to destroy at least 4 to 5 JF-17 or F-16 class aircraft and one AWACS system as well. Manoj Gupta is reporting about these secret funds that were approved in the month of May, and right now several sort of projects are in execution. Pakistan tried to build a narrative that it was India that suffered losses. However, now the evidence is open source data, and also the officials from Indian military are confirming that how they have got several sort of proofs, and this important development of approving secret funds is also revealing the sort of losses and damage that happened to the infrastructure and equipment of Pakistan during Operation Sindoor.
We're just getting this breaking news. Prime Minister Modi has just spoken with Chief Justice of India, Justice B.R. Gavai, after the attack or an attempted attack that happened on him earlier today inside the Supreme Court premises. In fact, the Prime Minister has also tweeted about it, and he has said that there is no place for such reprehensible acts in our society. It is utterly condemnable. I appreciated the calm displayed by Justice Gavai in the face of such a situation. It highlights the commitment that he has to the values of justice and strengthening the spirit of our Constitution. This, of course, was in response to an incident that happened earlier today in the Supreme Court inside the court premises, where a man attempted to throw a shoe at Justice Gavai for the reported comments that he made about Sanatan Dharma. I want to go across to Payal with more details on this. The Prime Minister speaking to Justice Gavai and also realizing that this issue cannot be allowed to fester, because I think the opposition has been trying to make an issue out of this. Do we have any further information of what the nature of the conversation was between the PM and the CJI, and does this matter now rest, or will the politics around it continue?
Well, of course, nothing can stop the opposition parties from doing politics on the entire matter, because, that is something which has been there. And they will, of course, level allegations on the BJP and the government, saying that you have taken Hindutva to such a level that there is no stopping people from, taking matters into their own hands, including in the court of the Chief Justice of India. The Prime Minister, of course, Zaka, spoke to Mr. Gavai, expressed his deep concern over what had really happened, and also, in a way, lauded the Chief Justice for keeping absolute calm on the entire issue, which actually speaks about the kind of, position that he holds, in the office of the Chief Justice of India as well. And I said that this behavior by the person who tried to do this has angered everybody. But, one has to, actually basically, know where to draw a line as far as, certain emotive issues are really concerned. That seems to be the larger and the overarching message of the Prime Minister.
Also, very quickly, can you bring our viewers up to speed with what exactly happened? What is this incident that happened in Courtroom 1, where the CJI usually presides?
What we do understand, that there was an attempt by somebody to, in fact, fling a shoe at the Chief Justice of India in return for, like you just mentioned, for the comment that he made on the Sanatan Dharma recently. You remember there was a huge row over this when he had made certain comments which were, of course, all across the media and all across social media as well. So an angered person has done this. But, appropriate action will be taken against him. The Bar Association has completely assured that. And that was something which our colleague Ananya reported early today.
All right, Payal, we'll leave it at that. So the Prime Minister speaking to the Chief Justice of India, expressing his concern about this attempted attack in his court today, where somebody tried to fling a shoe at him because of the comments that he made reportedly about Sanatan Dharma. Of course, that person has now been released, and the CJI said that he doesn't want to press charges. We'll take a quick break, but when we come back, a big development over the weekend that happened. President Trump's 20-point Gaza peace plan has finally been agreed to by Hamas. Hamas has agreed to the first step, which is to release the hostages. Will it happen? We will know in the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll have details right on the other side.
Stay with us, Purnima, because looking at another story that's coming in from Tamil Nadu, a statue of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MGR has been vandalized in Madurai. This has now triggered a political debate. In fact, EPS has now come out and demanded strict action against the culprits who were responsible for vandalizing the statue of MGR in Madurai. Purnima continues to be with us. Purnima, any headway made in the investigation so far on who perhaps could be behind this act of vandalism?
Well, Harish, special teams have been formed to nab the miscreants and the accused at the earliest, but the AIADMK is not happy. They say that only a coward can do such things, and they also demand that the police nab the accused at the earliest. So right now, what police sources tell us is special teams have been formed. They're also monitoring the CCTV footages in and around the areas to identify the miscreants and arrest them at the earliest. But clearly, we'll have to wait and see. But police say that by the end of the day, they will be able to nab the accused. That's what police sources are telling us. But ADMK condemns this move and also urges police to ensure that the culprits are arrested at the earliest.
In fact, stay with us, Purnima, because this tension between the Tamil Nadu government and the governor continues. In fact, R.N. Ravi, the Tamil Nadu governor, has now come out and expressed concerns about the rising atrocities against Dalits in the state. In fact, calling caste-based attacks unacceptable, the Tamil Nadu governor has said that despite Tamil Nadu's high literacy and education, the atrocities continue. He accused political parties of exploiting social division for power and questioned Chief Minister Stalin on what the state is fighting for. The Chief Minister hit back, saying the government's focus is on resisting need, delimitation and language imposition. Meanwhile, the Tamil Nadu government has moved the Supreme Court, challenging Governor's decision to reserve the Kalinga University Bill 2025 for President's consideration instead of granting assent as advised by the State Council of Ministers. The top court is set to hear the plea soon.
In a state with so much of literacy, in a state where great saints since thousands of years have taught us we are all one and the same, manifestation of the one and the same divine, how Swami Ramanujacharya taught us equality, the great Tiruvalluvar. In fact, when I see our literacy rate, which is far more than any other state in the, perhaps far above the national average, and then I find this kind of a problem.
Now, over the weekend, US President Donald Trump announced that the Gaza peace plan, the 20-point peace plan, which he had unveiled, was a done deal. But the devil is really in the detail. Hamas, Israel and the United States are holding talks in Egypt right now, even as we speak. They have to try and work towards finalizing a deal that's based on President Trump's Gaza ceasefire plan. It comes on the eve of the second anniversary of the October 7th, 2023 attack that happened by Hamas on Israel, in which over 1,200 people were killed and 250 were taken hostage. What comes next? Will Hamas keep its end of the bargain? Critically, will it release all the hostages, something it was loath to do up until now? Will Trump's ambitious peace plan finally bring this war to an end? I dig a little deeper. US President Donald Trump said that he believed Hamas was ready for a lasting peace. He also demanded that Israel immediately stop the bombing of Gaza. Late Friday, the terrorist group Hamas said it was ready to release all the Israeli hostages. This was the first step of the 20-point Trump peace plan. Hamas so far was loath to releasing the hostages, fearing that it would lose the only leverage it had over Israel. But the terrorist group also made it clear it wants to negotiate certain elements of the peace plan proposed by President Trump. On Monday last, President Trump, along with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, had unveiled a 20-point peace plan for ending the war in Gaza. A statement and later a video released by the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel was preparing to implement the first stage of Trump's plan for the immediate release of all the hostages. In fact, Netanyahu went live on Israeli national television.
אנחנו על סף הישג גדול מאוד. זה עדיין לא סופי. אנחנו עובדים על כך במרץ, ואני מקווה בעזרת השם שבימים הקרובים, עוד במהלך חג הסוכות, אוכל לבשר לכם על השבת כל חטופינו, החיים והחללים כאחד, בפעימה אחת, שצה"ל נשאר בעומק הרצועה ובשטחים השולטים בה.
In a video posted on Truth Social, President Trump called it a very special day, maybe even an unprecedented one. But he said there were more details that still need to be worked out. He also issued ominous warnings to Hamas to get the deal done and to implement the ceasefire within the next few days.
So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents and having some of the hostages, unfortunately, you know the condition they're in, come home likewise to their parents because their parents wanted them just as much as though that young man or young woman were alive.
A group representing the families of Israeli hostages said that the demand that Trump has made of the Israeli government was essential to prevent the serious and irreversible harm to hostages. Netanyahu has been under immense pressure from the hostages' families to bring all of them back home now. The armed terror group Hamas said it would release the hostages according to the exchange formula that is contained in President Trump's proposal. It also said, but the field conditions for it have to be met. Now, Hamas did not exactly mention what it meant by field conditions or that if it had a timetable for when the release of the hostages will take place. Hamas has already released more than 100 hostages over the last 2 years. They were handed over to the IDF at designated border points, which is likely to be the same template which they will follow this time around as well. The Hamas statement also said that the group agreed to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body which consists of independent technocrats based on Palestinian national consensus and with the support of Arab and Islamic countries. They were opposed to the idea of foreigners like Tony Blair, the former British Prime Minister, to be overseeing the Board of Peace, which will help reconstruct Gaza. President Trump happens to be the chair of that board. It was not clear from the statement of Hamas if it also agreed to a stipulation that it called for the group to be barred from exercising any political power in a future Gaza. The statement also did not address the elements of the American proposal which called on Hamas to give up its arms, which has been a major demand of Israel, or the offer of amnesty for its members who commit to giving up arms. The statement did make it clear that Hamas wants to play a role in the discussion of the future of the Palestinian people. Hamas said it wanted to be among Palestinians over the issues relating to the future of Gaza and the rights of the Palestinian people. It also said that Hamas will be a part of that discussion and it will contribute responsibly to that discussion. Hamas's statement was released hours after Trump used a 300-word missive on social media in which he set a Sunday deadline for Hamas to agree to his ceasefire. Israel's September 9th strike targeting Hamas representatives in Qatar rankled government officials both in the region and in Washington. What it also did was to motivate an angry Donald Trump and his advisors to put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu into supporting a framework to end the war in Gaza. Trump even made Netanyahu call up the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Hamad Al Thani, and offer a rare public apology for that strike in Doha. Trump made Netanyahu do this from the Oval Office before unveiling his peace plan. Trump also welcomed the 8 Muslim and Arab countries led by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, which had actively lobbied behind the scenes at the UNGA to get the White House to put more pressure on Netanyahu and end the war. There was also pressure from Western countries like France, Britain, and Canada, all of whom moved to recognize an independent Palestinian state. Israel believes there are about 20 living hostages in Gaza, as well as roughly 30 more whose dead bodies are in Hamas custody. And to take forward the negotiations, Netanyahu has deputed a senior minister in his cabinet, Ron Dermer, to be going to Egypt, which is one of the interlocutors. There's going to be indirect talks. President Trump has also dispatched his Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who used to be a special envoy for the Middle East in Trump's first term. They will also be in Egypt and be part of these indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas. Once Hamas releases the hostages, the Trump peace plan calls for Israel to free 250 Palestinian prisoners, along with 1,700 Gazans who were detained over the last 2 years of this war. The war in Gaza began on the 7th of October 2023 after the Hamas-led attack on Israel, in which roughly 1,200 people were killed and 250 taken hostage. Since then, the Israeli military response has killed more than 65,000 Palestinians. That war completes 2 years on Tuesday, October the 7th, 2025. And finally, there is a glimmer of hope for the hostages and their families.
Tata Capital. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Of city buses in Hyderabad. This is a breaking news that's coming in just now. The Telangana government has decided to increase the fare of local buses in Hyderabad from 5 rupees to 10 rupees. This is a hike that ranges across multiple slabs. The division has triggered a massive political face-off in the state. The BRS and the BJP have come down heavily on Revanth Reddy government, blaming the Congress for the fund crunch, resulting in the government deciding to tax normal users of city buses in Hyderabad.
Congress government, which does not have money to run their promises, which does not even know how to implement their promises, has been failed here, and that is why the entire burden is falling on the people of Telangana, and they are increasing the prices here. There is no free bus scheme. Free bus scheme in Telangana is a farce. It is a fake promise by Telangana, because from the same family today they are paying extra amount with the ticket fare, which has been doubled, skyrocketing prices, where Congress government is looting by increasing the RTC fares, which is affecting the people of Telangana.
In fact, CNN News 18's Aneri Shah now joins us for more on this. Aneri, for the Telangana government, it will be very difficult to justify this hike at a time when they were speaking about giving free buses to women in the state. You have the city bus prices now being hiked. The BRS says it could be double to what the passengers were paying earlier.
Well, that's right, Harish. What we see is that now the Telangana government, starting from today, has decided that they will be increasing the prices of the city buses, the Hyderabad and Secunderabad city buses, from 5 to 10 rupees. So basically, the ordinary buses and the metro buses fare will be increased. And now this comes in the backdrop. Well, remember, one of the promises of the Telangana government was to implement free bus service for women all across the state, and that is implemented. As you see, women have been using these bus services, but then what we also see is that now the bus fare, which has been increased, that will definitely affect the common citizens, because now apart from women, men who are traveling in the buses will have to pay extra. So 5 rupees starting from 3 stages in the ordinary buses, and 10 rupees extra from the 4th stage of the travel. So now that is definitely going to hit the common citizens, but then the state government says that this they are doing for the betterment and for better infrastructure of the RTC.
Absolutely, thank you, Aneri, for joining us with all those details. Well, after the Congress government in Karnataka, it's Telangana government in Telangana which is facing a lot of flack for increasing bus ticket prices. Well, that's all we could pack in today's edition of Simply South. time to look at other news and developments on the other side of the short break.
More updates after a shoe-throwing attempt at the CGI BR Gawai. We are being told that a call on further course of action will be taken only after the CGI rises from the bench. Supreme Court will contemplate future course of action as per law. Security officials and DCP Supreme Court can also...
Viewers, these pictures are so disturbing that we've had to blur them. The blood is so crimson that we've had to suck the color, viewers, out of these visuals. These scenes are grotesque, they're disturbing, they're graphic. They're the images of a BJP MP bludgeoned to near death in Bengal. Why? Because according to the BJP, he made the mistake of rushing to the north of the state to help locals caught in floodwaters, to assist in relief. The opposition's job is to draw attention to problems when the government's response is deemed deficient. Dissent is not supposed to be bloodied anywhere where there is a level playing field of free democratic expression. But it is, viewers, in an opposition-ruled state. Had this happened in a BJP-ruled state, had this happened under Yogi Adityanath, had this happened in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Delhi, viewers, petitions would have been written to the Prime Minister talking about how authoritarian his regime is. They would have used that word, regime, viewers. Justices would have written letters. Where are they today, viewers? 200 justices, 50 bureaucrats, this, that, the other. Are they writing to the Bengal Chief Minister? No, viewers, they are not. Will activists suddenly show up and say, we are so pained that we want to return our state awards? Will any of them who have received the patronage of the Bengal state government today say that we don't want it, we give up our sinecures, our jobs, here are our medals? Viewers, the saviors of constitutionalism and democracy who accuse Modi of quashing democracy are silent today as church mice. Why? Viewers, because a non-BJP state is seeing an atrocious attack, and that too on the opposition. It completely leaves them without a leg to stand on. So they're burying this story, viewers. I challenge you tomorrow to open the newspapers, these great glorious newspapers that have a comment on the growing democratic backsliding in India, to write a piece exercised enough to counsel West Bengal Chief Minister. Viewers, perhaps this tragedy would have felt less visceral, less raw, had the TMC expressed remorse. But the opposite is happening. TMC has justified it, suggesting that the BJP MP somehow deserved it. Clearly, viewers, there is a situation here where a level playing field is being withdrawn from the opposition. That too, about 6 months ahead or 8 months ahead of a consequential assembly election. Viewers, the BJP is up in arms. The leader of the opposition in the Bengal Assembly is saying, and I quote, Mamata Banerjee has realized quite late that the people of West Bengal have despised her inhuman act of dancing at a carnival with celebrities while North Bengal was reeling under floods. In contrast, BJP MLAs and MPs were on the ground helping the affected people. So she has now pressed the panic button and has now unleashed her goons belonging from the, quote, special community, unquote, to stop them from helping the people, unquote, viewers. To this, the TMC released a statement saying the incident is a spontaneous response by irate residents who were fed up with the BJP's photo op politics in the midst of a humanitarian catastrophe, unquote. Viewers, by this yardstick, all those people from the opposition parties who ran to Hathras to camp there should have all been beaten up. Because what were they doing also? Supposedly, according to The Yogi government at that time were indulging in vulture politics or photo op politics, so they should have also been thrashed. Because there is no end to this pathetic logic. The normalization of anti-constitutionalism is not an aberration in Bengal. The courts have taken grave exception to the wanton violence perpetrated on cadre, especially opposition parties and supporters also, voters of the opposition in Bengal. Many TMC leaders have been singled out by the courts for blame. Yet parties like the Congress and the Samajwadi Party and other constituents of the India Alliance like the left who flaunt the constitution in defense of their activism are silent today, viewers. Not ready to condemn their ally, the TMC. The Prime Minister has now reacted. He has posted on X, and I quote him, he says, the manner in which our party colleagues, including a sitting MP and MLA, were attacked in West Bengal for serving the people affected by floods and landslides is outright appalling. It highlights the insensitivity of the TMC as well as the absolutely pathetic law and order situation in the state. I wish the West Bengal government and TMC were more focused on helping people rather than indulging in violence in such a challenging situation. I call upon BJP Karyakartas to continue working among the people and assist the ongoing rescue operations, unquote. Just about 2 hours back, the Bengal Chief Minister came out and called upon or appealed to the people to be more restrained, as if, viewers, it was all the people's fault. She says that we should not indulge in such wanton acts of violence. Maybe, viewers, it's too late. Maybe she needs to take responsibility. I want to open this up, viewers. Some questions need to be posed tonight, and I want to begin with Tausif Ahmed, who's a lawyer and political analyst who is usually sympathetic to the TMC cause. I don't think you can defend the indefensible today. You're a man of the law, Mr. Khan. And this is an abhorrent attack on an opposition leader in a state that has been singled out for suppressing the voice of the opposition, not least by the High Court of India.
Rahul, this violence in any form is condemnable, and I condemn it. But this is not the right time for BJP to try and gain some sort of political mileage by calling it an attack by the Trinamool workers, because these are the people. They are not carrying any party flag. This is a flood hit affected area. You will remember in Himachal also, just a few weeks ago, BJP MP Kangana Ranawat also faced a similar situation in flooded area where protesters was raising slogans of go back. BJP then did not say that these are the political workers. But in Bengal, this hypocrisy, they are trying to play politics over it, and it is such a shameful act. What BJP should do, instead of looking for an opportunity for a photo op, BJP should join the efforts of the state administration and the police in carrying out the rescue operations. The Mamata Banerjee government has opened a 24/7 control room in the state secretariat. Mamata Banerjee is on a visit to the North Bengal for 2 days. There are various department and government agencies working day in and out for carrying out the